you've been doing some flower arranging and you've got some leftovers, you want to put them into a jam jar and save them, just to enjoy them on your kitchen windowsill. But isn't it really annoying when they all flop around all over the place? Well, my friend Jo's been showing me how to make a flower frog from air drying clay. I'm Julie from Julie Davis Flower Workshops and Flower Start, the online flower arranging classes. I'll leave you with Jo and she'll explain how to make your flower frog using air drying clay.
Okay, so this is going to be a clay frog, which is a support for a vase, and you need some air drying clay, and you don't want it to be too dry. It's got to be pliable enough that you can work with it. So you want a piece of cling film underneath it, a ball of clay, and you need another piece of cling film over the top, and you need a rolling pin. So the rolling pin just does the job of squashing to start with, not rolling. You don't need to roll to start with, just squashing gently down, and you want it all the same thickness all the way across. You're going to have to try and judge when to turn your cling film round, just like when you do pastry. Try and do a nice clean roll, not going too thin at the edges, although we're going to use a cutter in a minute, so that won't matter. You're going to have a slightly larger cutter than the jam jar that we're going to use the frog on. Now, if you've got something that hasn't got a sharp edge like this glass, then you'll need to cut round with a knife, or if you've got a cutter, you could use a pastry cutter or something like a plastic beaker that's got a sharper edge. You can use that instead of a knife. And then you're going to need something to take the holes out that are going to be the spaces for the stems to go to slot inside. And I've got a nozzle to a piping bag. So we've got the shape. Doesn't matter if it's a little bit cracked around the edges, but if you're worrying about cracked edges, just go around with the knife, or tuck your cling film round and just press the edges a bit closer together. Here's the cutter now. You want to come in from the edge to leave a little space, because you know that there'll be a rim around your vase to have any holes hanging over the edge of your vase or jam jar. In this case, you want to have quite a long way so the clay acts as a border. Some of them have popped out, but others haven't. Remember that air drying clay does dry quickly, and therefore you'll need to work quite speedily. So there's the shape. Pop the little clay buttons out before you go any further. You don't want to leave them in until they dry, until it dries, because then you'll end up with some sticking. So you can now leave this to dry on a plate, on something solid, so that you can support it, not just the cling film. And you'll need to put that somewhere in an ambient temperature. That's just a normal room temperature, nothing too hot, nowhere too hot, nowhere obviously too cold.
Well, I followed Jo's instructions and made my own flower frog using the piping bag to create the holes for the flowers to slip through, and I've also made a surface pattern on the top, just pressing down gently with my piping bag nozzle, just so it gives a little bit of a pattern to my frog. So place it over your jam jar. I've got a tumbler here, and then you can add your flowers in and they won't slop to the side. You'll have much more control in your arranging, so the flowers stay exactly where you've put them. So I've got some alstroemeria, some short stems of lisianthus, and as it's springtime here as I'm filming, I've got some stems of the lovely hellebore that's beginning to show its seed heads. So you don't need to put flowers right the way through every single hole. You might want to leave some holes empty so you can see more of the flower frog. And that's a really lovely, simple arrangement to make, either using snippets from your own garden or perhaps flowers you've got left over from a larger project you've been making.